How's it going, everybody? It's Krusty Old Crow back again doing another tactical perspective toy review on a G.I. Joe classified figure coming out from Hasbro today. And this one isn't a numbered one, guys. I called the ball. I figured it was going to happen. We're going to do the Action Joe Police Emergency Service Unit, ESU, 60th Anniversary Legacy Edition G.I. Joe figure here. We got him. All right, so I managed to only pull in the one through my EB Games. It gave me a call, let me know that my one of my pre-orders was in, but this has been a tricky and elusive figure to try and track down. All I knew was less than any other figure we knew about the Joe classified line. This one had a narrow mystery about it. Why? Because police seem to be very unpopular to talk about these days. In fact, anything controversial really seems heated right now. So Hasbro sought to, not publicize this one as much. I don't know if that was the right decision or the wrong decision, but it resulted in us quietly getting this ashore and into my hands today. So I'm pulled it out, couldn't wait to get it home, got them right out of the box, had my exploration, started collecting my thoughts. And just like with the firefighter, this one strikes a little home. Unlike any other character in the G.I. Joe classified, when I hold a legacy guy, I see an everyman, and I start wondering, do the police actually have it harder than soldiers? I think they do. Soldiers, they go overseas to get super stressed out and PTSD and all that experience and conflicts and variables. These guys just go to work. So unlike guys like Chuckles or Duke or Hawk, I don't wonder about their families. But when I hold a figure about like this, I look at a guy like this and say, and on top of that, he goes home to a family at night. So I'm going to give you my usual tactical perspective on this one. Without the file card, we all know, there's not a whole lot of hype needed to understand the role of the police officer, the emergency service unit police officer, your block walker, your point of contact when you need help, the guy that's reacting, and then we also got the kit that goes with them. We're going to review that. We're going to do a head to toe on the buck, and we're going to give them those grades, that tack grade, play grade, and je ne sais quoi grade. It's French Canadian for I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on here. Guys, this might be a relatively quick one as it's getting late in the evening. I do have some photos I'm going to put up and some video as I've done and whatnot, but I really don't have a ton to say about this guy. I left all my feelings on the floor with the 60th legacy. I miss our old heroes of old. I remember when police, firefighters, doctors, astronauts, race car drivers were all the heroes we needed. Oh, and professional hockey players. We're all the heroes we needed to aspire to growing up. And I still look at police officers as a very noble profession. And guys, being in the military as long as I was, a lot of the guys I knew, several of them went going to the police services after they decided, to walk from the army towards something. They walked towards law enforcement, and I respect them all for that, and I commend them all. I'm thinking of my buddy Dave right now as I look at this figure. Not that he's African American, he's very Caucasian, so Caucasian they made him a triplet. But I think about this, and I know that my friend Dave, really likes G.I. Joe. He tells me all the time, so I feel like they almost made this figure just for Dave. All right, guys, I'm going to play with the kit, talk to you about it all, and then we'll get out of here on this review. Remember, if you like these kind of reviews, like, share, subscribe. Helps the channel. Trying to get to that 1,000. Getting pretty close, guys, and I have you to thank for it. All right, let's go play with our policeman. Awesome. All right, so we're going to get into the kit of this officer, and like as usual, I'll do all the editing afterwards and show you different angles and stuff. Hopefully it matches up with what I'm talking about, but it doesn't always, and I'm aware of that. So for the kit that we get with this guy, you get a couple of different headdress features, all right? You get your standard issue police cap that we all recognize. That's the streetwear, Mr. Friendly Police Officer, the one that children recognize as the friendliest version of a police officer, if they think the officers are friendly. But we won't get into it. But yes, there you get your traditional police cap that fits on the African-American head just as nicely as it fits on the Caucasian head, so you don't have to worry about cross-compatibility and head diameters. All right, also you're going to get this very intricate police riot helmet. And what I mean by intricate is that this is yet another system where head removal becomes necessary in an unfortunate manner. And I'll show you as I pull this head off. I'll show you. So if I want the head shield down, I actually can't pull it down when it's in the up position this way. It's just too stiff. It's going to rub that paint right off. I actually have to pull it around like that. Like I suppose if I were to work this helmet in, I could, but the way that this brim sits, it keeps that downward position pretty tight. So if you want it down, you should put your guy's head in there in the downward position, um, where the visor's behind like this. Pardon me. I'm just trying to figure this out as I go. And you put the head in, put the chin under. Oh dear. And then sorry, there you go. You just find that you got to work your helmet with it off. Either way, I forced it down because I'm not going to fumble. My point being is it's pretty awkward to manipulate this helmet after. It's just such a tight fit. You can see me having to squish this. Anyways, we'll put that back on there. That's the second head feature you got for covering your police there. So if you're troop building, if you want to have a riot squad, yes, you can make out what ethnicities are under there, but you can't make it face detailing. So you get a really good generic group. It's popping on and off. This is the one irritants I have that I liked as a piece of kit, but also dislike. It's the CB radio handset that clips to the chest. We've seen this before with the Law and Order set, and I really liked it there because I found it went in very easily. But on this one, I find it's a struggle. Next, we have these awesome set of ballistic yellow lens shooter's glasses, whether they're Oakley or Under Armour or just generic government brand, it don't matter. They fit and seat very well over this character. You can see with the head swap I've done there. Going back to that radio, you can see how that mushroom stamp top there just kind of pushes out against that vest. Going to be a bit of a problem. Thankfully, the primary holster isn't. That stamp sits in very nice. As you can see, I've got his service pistol in there into this holster. And the way I ascertained that this was the primary holster, because you do get 3 handheld weapon options, was just by sizing and fitting the other weapons against it. And he has another holster on the leg for the taser he carries. Of course, he's going to carry a taser, right? I think that's a brilliant ad. Nice little yellow and black safety taser. Of course, we've seen these before with Doc, right? So he has that taser, and then he also has the flare gun from the same set, right? This time in yellow. No place to put this because he only has the 2 holsters. So you're kind of deciding at that point what's going where with some leftover kit. That's going to happen with the Legacy Edition. Just like with the firefighters, you're going to have some leftover kit from stuff that just isn't working for that particular feel for the time of what you're trying to do. We've got this nice eyelet on the belt, just like we've had before. Nice color, silver color app to make it stand out. You, in fact, have another smaller one on here that I can't find the service for. But that eyelet will house his nightstick, his baton, his billy club, whatever you want to call it. His riot stick, if you would. It's such a hot button topic. But that just slides in there like that. You can see that in the images as well. If we keep looking at that belt, you'll see where the handcuffs mount, just like with Law and Order, if you've had him. Or if you haven't, I'm not sure who else to compare it. But just an open-sided cuff slot so that you can just set these in there like that. And they just see, if I was getting a better look, there we go. Like that, so that they sit on the character, no problems there. They're not gonna go anywhere. Pretty stiff character, great flex. A couple of warning signs. First, I'll get into that vest. Great vest. Love the pick of just the darkness of it, and then the gold popping badge. Great stuff. No real need to put anything on there. It's baggy, so he can put plates inside if he's going into a riot situation. This is just like a military load bearing vest. This can double as a tactical SWAT vest if he needs it to, I suppose. In fact, I'd almost demand that it does, because I don't know many standard service police officers that keep their service weapon to their chest rig like that. It would interfere with their body cams, and every cop I've ever met, they keep it on their hip. It's more controllable for them that way. I guess I'm not sure, but it certainly is obstructive on the chest inside a squad car, trying to do your business with 2 feet of space. that's not the way to go about it. But perhaps some law enforcement agencies do have it on the chest rig for other reasons. I'm not sure. Going over, we have a non-removable mag light, the big heavy black flashlights police officers carry, and we have a non-removable secondary set of cuffs. On the legs would be where he would keep his, his ticket writing pad or his field message pad, perhaps a first aid kit kind of stuff there, maybe some extra batteries, maybe an extra clip for his pistol. But he's got that hard pack holster over here for those two safety weapons or non-lethal weapons that I talked about, radio, and that's what's going on there. I love the paint on the shoulders before I go on this, because I shouldn't get into it before I get into the buck. But we were just talking about the vest, and that just seems to make this unit patch jump out just that much more, right? So moving on with kit. No extra hands with this guy, but thank goodness, one thing he can hold besides a service pistol or the flare gun or the taser is his good old cup of Joe, right? Action Joe drinking a cup of Joe from the G.I. Joe line. There you go. Kind of made itself a cup there. So I like this little nod. We're going to see this again in other figures in the line, be it with the HasLab Snowcat or with the Ostriker. And, we're going to get our coffee cups and different names written on them. I like these little nods. They're no different to me than Marvel comic books that they're throwing in with the Marvel retro carded or hardback series. It's reuse, and it's getting the distance. So we've got that coffee cup going over the last pieces of kit. One more firearm to talk about. He's got the riot shotgun there. We've seen this a few times. This time they've put the brass to the back on the shells and the red forward like it should be, thus getting the forward canting angle I think they were always wanting. I think they really like that design. But we've seen it in other kits like the Claw Pilot, where it didn't really make sense the way they painted up this removable drum. But we have it again now, and it makes sense enough for Hasbro to be happy with it. And therefore, I'm happy with it. I'm not going to get picky about a riot shotgun, because I really don't see my policemen carrying such ordnance around the way I'm going to use them. We've got some reuse from the 60th anniversary Soldier, where we get the schmuck, the black police safety schmuck for, inclement weather. Maybe this is supposed to be reflective in our minds, or maybe they could have put some reflective stuff on there, kind of like how they painted up the firefighter, just to remind us that these are safety measures for public safety scenes and things like that. That would work really good. But it's an inconsequential piece of cloth that just changes some of the feel. I like it, but it's definitely wouldn't have missed it if it wasn't included in the set, because the true features, I think the true features just lie really within the buck and the standard loadout with them. But then we get into one of the cooler ones, which is of course his police riot shield, scuffed up, banged up, has clearly seen the action that you would expect in the current social climates, of course, but just in the role of what this guy is there to do. He's there to quell the dangerous situation so that public safety can be back into a guaranteed state. If that means he has to strap on that riot gear and go and tear gas to quell the riot, so be it. But I like that they changed the handle system from that which we saw with the riot shield from Shockwave. However, this now gets a little trickier. With Shockwave, it was a gummy or bracket that held that forearm. And with this one, you can see your whole arm's going to slip through this bracket, and then you have to clutch the handle. So if I'm doing this right, you'll see that I'm taking the hand off to do that, putting it on once the forearm slipped through. Not a big deal, but I'm honestly just not a fan. The more I have to take a figure apart to get the kit to function, the more I feel concerned about whether that part is going to break. I don't think that ever goes away, even with any reputable line. Be it Mythic Legions, be it Hasbro, be it Jada, it always makes me nervous to take a figure apart and worry that I'm going to, destroy a $50 or $35 figure. It just is what it is. Overall, guys, lots of great kit with this one. Can't speak highly enough about the kit loadout. Let's get back into that buck for a second. You've got this head feature, the Caucasian one, like I talked about. We'll remove those glasses before I lose those glasses. And of course, we have the other ethnicity, darker skin complexion. I'm just going to pop his off, and you can see that they are using the necks as the post on this, not the traditional, head comes off the neck. No, the whole neck system, kind of like with other legacy figures we've seen before. But I actually like this head a lot better than the standard Caucasian one, so I'm going to leave this one on there. There's just something about the thin pencil mustache, a little bit of bony cheeks there. Like he's seen some stressful days. I like the fade of his haircut. Nothing wrong with this one, but this one just kind of reminds me of a young hawk, or a better looking falcon. Just a very generic, no expression face. It is what it is. So this is why I want another one, so I can have two of these officers and have them both reflected. But I'm going to stay with this one for now. I did mention that patch. I think that I can't really make that out here, but it'll come out in the photos. Hopefully we see what it is in the photos clearly enough. Double jointed pinless elbows and knees like you've come to expect. Good ratchet on the knees. Ankle rockers are nice and they're firm but loose enough to work, so you can get a variety of poses. The ab flex is going to get definitely affected there, the ab crunch, just because of his vest, which is fine. The heavier police vests really, you can tell those guys ain't comfortable, and they certainly aren't doing somersaults and feeling super flexible in some of that kit. So I can get with that. What I really like is, well, they've taken this rolled up sleeve that clearly is probably being used somewhere else that I can't think of. They've turned it into a nice dry fit undershirt for this officer, adding in some more paint deco of the police and what is that? Something issue. It says, I don't know, government issue? I don't know. Private issue? I don't know. But something issue on there. And of course, his time device there and his Apple Watch over here, or his braided 550 cord gray. This is a carryover from a lot of the infantry figures. So yeah, we've got these wrist pieces we can lose if we had to swap hands, but we don't swap hands. Didn't come with any extra hands, so we're good. Overall, really loving the color set, but these aren't new colors. This is blue like Cobra, black like Night Force, cool writings and a little bit of neon aqua blues, some great color highlights that make this feel like its own thing. This is going to stand out clearly, as something that I think a lot of people are going to like as I get ready now to get into my grading. He's going to parallel well with your Marvel shelves, your Jada shelves, your G.I. Joe classified shelves, or even just a nice gift to a friend that you know in law enforcement who, you just want to surprise a cop. Buy him one of these and wish them a good day. These are tumultuous times and these guys take all the risks. Of course, there's bad examples of bad officers out there, but I think we can all think of an example of a good officer if we tried really hard. They've been there historically throughout our lives. So imagine giving a cop one of these and saying, have a good day, officer. I think that would make his day. Anyways, guys, on a grade, I'm going to be realistic here on attack level. Some of this kit I don't care about, don't believe in, not really buying, but most of it I think is cool. Like I said, I don't like the chest-mounted service pistol, heavy hip way down stuff does not, like on the hips, does not really ring of a cop to me. It rings of somebody who's more of the SWAT guys or special tactics, kind of assignment stuff. But a standard street cop, I'll probably take these leg pouches off as well. Love the loadout, love the feel of the character, love the investment they made in black gloves mean we can do both race, which means you and I can troop build these and have several partners or a squad or a force. It doesn't matter. It's great. The throwaway cup, carrot, and the riot shield, I think was the best part. The riot shield and the helmet, I think, were where all the real care and attention went into. I shouldn't say all, but a majority, because there's a lot of care and attention here. So on that attack grade, I'm gonna be generous. I'll say 4.5. I think he's a little overdone for Joe to be perfect as a cop, but I think this is the best looking police officer action figure I could have expected out of this line, and it's solid. I'm very happy with this. I think a lot of people will be. What faults I pick up on it are probably so minuscule. I've talked on them enough. Let's go with the play grade. You'd think with this much kit, I'd be happy. I am, but some of it again is useless play kit. And a little bit of redundancy. Like, why does he have the flare gun? Police use road flares. They're not shooting flares in the air. Like, look out, everybody, accident ahead. Hey, you look out, right? No, they're standard police road flares. I wish they had included these. This just clearly said, well, while we're dipping into Doc's file to get his taser, let's get this, and then have nowhere to put it. So, but I'm having a lot of figure. There's so much on here. What little faults there are don't add up to enough in this play kit for me to ding it anything significant. So I'm going to give it a 5 on play, which I would expect for a deluxe figure, but also just because of the cross compatibility for the other lines with this. And then lastly, on the je ne sais quoi, I'll go with a strong 5, but not in a good way. Like, je ne sais quoi, meaning I do not know what is going on or what it is. And that's how I felt about this figure the whole time from the moment I felt like it was released to the moment they were like, whoa, let's not talk about this, to all of a sudden it's in my hand. I'm like, I do not know what is going on. I'm happy to have the guy. Some solid grades, 4.5, 5, 4.5 again, I guess. You know, these are good grades for a great figure. Very excited to have this. Excited to put him down there and take some more photography, slap all this together and get it out to you. But guys, yeah, this thing is probably as good as you expected. I think the only course corrections I would make on this is I would have had the holster somewhere else, and this mushroom peg I would have changed for just a hard single post peg and let friction do its work. Here, friction's overworking it. It's working way too hard on that mushroom peg for this microphone. That would be about it. Quite honestly, I really do enjoy this figure. Hey guys, that's going to do it for this tactical perspective. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much for everybody who's helped me get this far. I'm definitely, like I said, on that track to 1,000 like I wanted to be for the end of this year. And again, that's not me, that's you guys, and I know that. I just get to play with the toys. And speaking of which, you should go play with yours, and we'll see you next time.